welcome back to our channel. We're the Dead Girls, brought to you by LNet Productions. I'm Liz.
I'm Maria.
And today we're going to talk about The Walking Dead Season 3. We're going to do a recap of Season 3. If this is anybody's first time watching us, so far we've done a recap of each season and we're working our way up to the Season 8 mid-season finale, and then we're going to start reviewing each episode. Alright, so now we're going to do the recap of Season 3.
It's probably going to be longer than the rest of our videos, only because this is the first season that is 16 episodes long. So, Season 3 starts out, there's a bit of a time skip from the Season 2 finale when the farm burned down to the Season 3 premiere. And we know this because A, Lori's pregnancy has tremendously advanced. You can see she's got a big baby bump. You know, Carl looks a little bit older, and also you could tell the whole group in general is getting more skilled at taking down walkers. They have more individual skill and more skill as a group when they're teaming together.
So we know that some time has went by, like 7 months, something like that.
It starts out, you know, who's in the group at this point? And it's Rick, Carl, Lori, Herschel, Beth, Maggie, T-Dog, Glenn, Carol, and Daryl.
And we first see them, they're kind of scavenging through houses. They come across one house, and we see Daryl. He kills an owl. He starts eating the owl, and they're really hungry.
Are just eating canned goods,
they're
whatever
really,
they can find.
They have nothing,
really.
actually, right now. Carl finds dog food, and he's about to eat it, and Rick freaks out. He grabs the dog food out of his hand. He throws it across the room. And we're just like, wow, like, they're starving. The kid's about to eat dog food. And the dad's like, no, you're not even allowed to eat dog food.
You can see that they've had a rough
adventure
winter.
so far, yeah.
So they're chilling in this house, eating the food or
and
whatever.
Some walkers start coming. So instead of fighting,
they're tired from running all winter.
They see the walkers coming.
And they just pack up their shit and they leave
silently. And it's, like, really scary because it's like they literally have nowhere to go and they're just constantly on the run.
On the move at all times.
So
then, you know...
It's getting desperate at this point.
It's getting desperate. They're running out of energy. You know, they get to a point where they pull over on the road to try to figure out, okay, where are we going to go? We've been to this neighborhood, this and this, so we need to go somewhere else. While they're trying to regroup, Rick and Daryl are out, you know, scavenging the woods. And here they come across a prison, which is the same building that we see the camera pan off to at the end of Season 2.
And it's pretty awesome when we see the prison because you just see it in Rick's and Daryl's eyes. They're like, wow, like, we really found something. We can make something out of this. Like,
there was one problem.
Gates, they're like, wow. So they get the group.
There was one problem. There were tons of walkers crawling all around outside the prison.
So we go to get the group.
They're debating at first whether it's even worth taking the risk to kill all these walkers and even try to fuck around in this prison. So then they decide, all right, we could do this.
So they come up with a plan. They're like, when we first get to the prison, I guess they clear out and just get to, like, a little area, like a grass area. And I guess they had to clear those walkers because they're outside the prison. They just cleared that area. And everybody's, like, happy that they got this little fenced-in area with grass.
They cleared the whole outside. And this is probably the best that they have done with walkers so far.
And the safest they've been since they've been at... they weren't even that safe at the farm, but the safest they've been since the farm.
But, you know, they were proud of themselves.
So when they're at the prison, when they first get there, they clear an area. It's an area of just grass. There's fences all around them. They haven't went any further yet. They're just in, like, the first set of gates. They're going to spend the night right there. They have a safe place to rest their heads for the night.
They're happy that they were able to be skilled and kill so many walkers so safely.
Right. I don't really think they've killed that many yet, but
there were a lot in the courtyard, yeah.
The plan is, Rick is like, in the morning, everyone go to bed now because in the morning we're going to start going further and clearing our way and getting into this prison. And Lori says to Rick, she's like, Rick, we're all exhausted. We finally got a place to, like, chill and be safe for, like, can you give us a break? Give everybody a rest?
Couple days or whatever.
Rick's like, absolutely not. Like, we're doing this.
We're
like,
working to be able to rest. Like, it's not resting time
right,
yet.
we need a like couple more days. Yeah, that was kind of weird. Like, you see their relationship is really bad. Like, they're barely even speaking to each other.
And even though the fence and the gates were secure, Rick still walked the perimeter all night, and it was partly just to keep checking and make sure that there were no breaches where walkers could get in, but I think it was also in part because he didn't want to be sitting there with Lori all night, because you could see the tension with them. Yeah. Lori is still pissed off at Rick for killing Shane, and Rick is still pissed off at Lori because he resents her for having the whole affair and for her being the reason that he ended up having to kill Shane to begin with. So they're both pissed at each other. They really don't want to spend no time around each other like that.
So the next day they go further. They get in, they clear area by area, and they clear cell block to themselves. They know that, like, where they're at is good. There's no possible way that any walkers can get to the area that they're at. Right, and this was, like, the biggest amount of walkers they ever had to deal with. Like, this is where they really start to become stronger and be able to fight.
And it was their biggest accomplishment so far.
So, all right, so we're at the prison. Everybody has, like, a jail bed. They're good right now.
So then, I guess it's Maggie, Glenn, Rick, Daryl, Herschel, and T-Dog. They decide they're going to venture out farther into the prison, into what they call the tombs, just to go explore, see what's going on back there,
Most
get rid of the walkers.
Importantly, food. They need food,
and they know
they
there
need
is
medicine. The commissary.
They know, right?
So
they know
like, let's go.
The prison has got to be like a gold
right.
mine.
There's got to be medical supplies, like shit that they need. So they go out to search the rest of the prison. They leave Carl back in charge. Rick says to him, "You have to stay here because if we don't come back, you'll be the last man standing." And that's like a really like strong thing for a dad to say to him. Like he really meant that too. Like they all could have died in there.
So they go to the tombs. They get split up. Something happens. There's a bunch of walkers.
Yeah, like
that
walkers
ambush
come
them.
And they get split up. But then, like
After
Herschel's
they
looking
killed
for Maggie.
them, right? After they killed the walkers, there's one sitting on the ground.
Right.
Looks like it's dead already.
And Herschel thought he heard Maggie, so he like came back around the corner and was like,
By
"Maggie,
himself.
is that you?"
Right.
And he walks past that walker, like just sitting up against the wall, and
all of
boom,
a
he
sudden,
bites him in the leg.
It comes right to life. Yes,
and
bites him in the calf.
When I was watching this, like I couldn't even believe it. Like, oh my god, how does Herschel get bit right now? Because we see like Herschel is such a huge importance to Rick
right.
and the whole
and
story.
we're like, oh
right
my god,
now.
Herschel's
He's supposed
gonna
to
die
deliver
already.
Fucking Lori's baby, like,
right. Herschel's story is nowhere near being done, and we're like, shit, like he's about to die.
Right. So the whole group, I think they all come together. They
hear
grab
him
Herschel.
screaming, so they run to him. They end up rushing him in the closest room, which happens to be the cafeteria of the prison.
Right.
Rick don't waste no time, since the bite was on Herschel's calf,
his lower leg. Right.
He just figures, okay, if we amputate above the bite, maybe I
Quick
can
enough.
stop the spread of the walker infection, and Herschel will be okay.
Right.
So that's what we do.
So he
Rick ties his belt around his
cuts
leg.
off his leg. We're like, oh my god,
Right
like
with his
holy
hatchet.
shit, like yes, like
And
we
it
have to
wasn't one clean cut. It was boom,
yeah, he
boom,
had to like
boom.
saw away at Herschel's leg. It was pretty crazy, and we see
Herschel's
like this shit's
passed
getting
out.
real. Like yeah, Herschel's passed out
at
as
this
soon
point.
as he
Too
started
much
getting
blood
chomped
loss.
on.
Like shit's getting crazy. So
Next thing you know, we look over, and here we see like 6 inmates. And
they're just watching like, what
the
the fuck are you guys doing?
So we come to find out that these inmates have been there since the beginning of the apocalypse, and they've been locked in
They
this
were
room,
locked in the cafeteria by the prison guards. They were given a gun by the prison guards.
and they said, we'll be back, or da-da-da. Like,
they have no knowledge
no
of
idea.
anything that's been going on outside of that cafeteria since the very start of the rioting apocalypse.
Rick and the group, they have Herschel there with his leg cut off. They're like, we gotta go. They're like, we'll be back. They lock him back in there.
They don't have time to fuck around
Right,
with
we
these
gotta take
people
care of
right
Herschel.
now.
They lock him back in there. They leave. They go back to the cell block, and they're trying to get Herschel, like, you know, whatever, bandages.
Stable.
Yeah, him stable, right. So Herschel has passed out for a while, but he's still breathing. They're scared, like, what if he comes back as a zombie?
And there is a point where he stops breathing and they think he's about to die. Lori administers CPR to him and saves his life. Because if it wasn't for her being so quick to act in the moment, then yes, he would have died and turned into a walker. So they go back to the cafeteria to go check out these inmates. They don't know if they're going to try to attack them, if they're going to be friendly. They have to, get this threat, this potential threat under control.
Right, and they need the food. So they go back, and they really don't seem like friendly people. What are their names?
There's a Tomas, who's an asshole. Andrew's an asshole. Oscar, Axel.
Is
I believe,
Oscar the little,
no,
hippie?
Axel's
Who's the hippie?
Axel's the
and
hippie.
He's, like, cool. Like, he's just
Oscar
retarded
is
because
the-
he's, like, shoddy up.
I believe there is another one.
Alright, well, it doesn't matter. And most of them are assholes. So, the one has a gun, too, so we don't like that. I think there was a little gun pointing going on when we came back, but pretty much Rick was like, alright, you can live here with us.
And they educate them about the state of the world. There's no phones. You're not going to go check on your fucking family. There is no family. Like,
Right.
everything is gone.
Rick is like, we won't kick you guys out and make you go out on your own since you have nowhere to go, have no idea what's going on, but we'll help you clear out a cell block. You could stay here in your own area, but don't come anywhere near us, and we split the food. Well, Tomas, he wasn't so happy about that. He was like, nah, like, you're in my cell block, I want that, blah, blah. And
he's just a dick.
and then
there's going to be
he goes to get the
problems.
food, and Tomas only wants to give over a little bit of food. Rick's like, oh no, we're going 50-50. Like, I got a lot of people to feed.
Or
like,
I ain't clearing out the cell block, and
you're
y'all
out.
can handle the
Right.
walkers by yourself and see how good you do.
No,
'cause you
I
ain't
don't
gonna
even
do
think
too
that was
good.
an option. I think if he wasn't going to split the food and shit, like, they were out. Like,
I don't know, but whatever.
so Tomas doesn't really have a choice. They go out, they see some of the walkers, they see all the dead walkers that everybody killed to clear the prison.
And they're like in shock, like, oh my God, you killed this many people. They don't realize, the severity of the situation. Rick and them explain to the inmates, you need to get a good headshot on the walkers to be able to kill them and take them down, or else they're going to keep coming at you. Don't matter how many times you shoot them in the heart or whatever, they will keep coming at you. You need that headshot. So he's like, okay, you guys take a turn with this walker. We'll see how good you do. They're straight beating his ass gang style. They're like kicking his teeth in, and then they're wondering why he's still getting back up. And they're like, hello, like, we fucking told you gotta get him in the head. Like, if you're not gonna listen to us, you're not gonna live. Like, it's that simple.
Right. So anyway, we get the cell block cleared out for these assholes. And we tell them, like, you stay there. We don't want to see you. Live your own life in your own cell block.
So,
In the meantime,
while all of that is going on, we see somebody running in and out of little stores in the woods and stuff. This person is somebody who was traveling with Andrea. It happens to be the person from the end of season 2 who showed up in the shadows with the hood and cloak on, with the sword, with the walkers on the chains. This person is Michonne. Michonne is still of importance to this day in season 8. So we see Andrea is very sick. She's got the flu. Michonne has been taking care of her all winter long. Andrea is pretty much on the verge of death. You see her begging Michonne, like, just leave me. Like, I'm going to slow you down and then we're both going to die. And Michonne's like, fuck no, bitch. Like, you're coming. So they leave. They're traveling around the woods. All of a sudden, here comes a helicopter crashing down from the sky. So they go to check it out. And as they're hiding or whatever, we see, is anybody alive? Or
No.
do we see anybody alive at first?
I don't think so. I think when they see the helicopter crash, well, they don't actually see the helicopter crash. They see smoke.
Right, so
After
they come
the crash.
to investigate.
So they go to investigate. They see that there's been a crash. They see there's a bunch of walkers around. They assume, I'm sure they're assuming that the people are all dead. And then all of a sudden, like, some other people show up.
These trucks start
I guess they
driving
came
up.
in trucks or whatever.
They came to investigate
we don't
as
know
well.
who they are yet. So we're just looking. And they end up finding Andrea and Michonne hidden behind a tree.
Well, after they investigated the helicopter, they found the pilot to be alive, but everybody else was dead.
Right.
So they find Andrea and Michonne hidden behind the tree.
We're saying they. We're talking about these random people that showed up and we don't know who
to
they
investigate.
are yet.
Who is it that comes with this truckload to investigate it's
Meryl.
Meryl.
So we're like, oh my god, Andrea sees Meryl, but it's like, do you say anything?
Wait,
Is
just
he good?
in case
Is he
you
bad?
forgot, Meryl is from season 1 who got left on the rooftop,
And
Daryl's
had
brother.
to cut his hand off.
He had to cut his hand off because he was chained to the rooftop. And here he shows up now with a friggin', what do they call it? A bayonet or something? And
a
he's
sword
got
arm.
a friggin' knife sword hanging off the edge of his.
He's got a built-in
thing.
weapon to his elbow.
We're like, what the fuck? Like, where did Meryl come from?
Who are these people? What kind of technology do they have that they're freaking putting on arms like that?
Right, sword arms and shit. From that confrontation, you could tell that Meryl is still a jerk
dick.
off, like the way he was when we
Treating
left
his other
him.
people. So I forget exactly how it goes down.
He
I think
kidnapped them.
Michonne kills her 2 walkers.
Right, her 2
Because
pet
she
walkers,
knows
what they call.
that this group has now found Michonne and Andrea. She kills her own walkers because she doesn't want anyone else to kill them. We'll find out why later. And here's Meryl. So he's being nice to them, but he's like, oh my god, you're sick, and come with us. We have everything you need. We'll get you better. We have a safe place.
It's not come with us. It's you don't have a choice. We're blindfolding you and you're coming with us.
Is that how they got there?
Yeah, they were both blindfolded in the back of the truck.
Well, that's pretty grimy. But anyway, they trying to make it seem like it's all good or gravy. I mean, if you blindfold me and take me somewhere, I don't think that you're a nice person or that I'm going to trust you or want any of your help.
Right. That's the first red flag.
Right, like, okay.
So,
I would have
anyway.
fought you. But she was really sick. If they
Right.
had medical help, medical teams, doctors, Andrea needed to say
So
it.
Andrea passes out, partly in shock of being sick, partly in shock of
What's going on?
being shocked to see Meryl. So she wakes up. They're at somewhere. She's got an IV in her arm with fluids and shit.
She's starting to feel better.
Who walks in? This guy. His name is the governor.
The governor. He's such a fucking asshole.
They're in a town called Woodbury. Woodbury happens to
Woodbury
be...
looks cool as shit. It's
It
like a little
does.
city.
It comes off, it's got like
It's
a
got
population of
electricity.
like 70 people.
It's got homes,
hot water,
walls, right? Like the regular world, and it's crazy because this is the first time
kids are out playing
we
by
get to see
themselves and
this.
shit.
This is the first civilization
They have
that's
walls
up and running that
and
we find.
people on the walls watching, keeping watch 24/7.
So
they take
it's like,
shifts.
why would you want to leave here? Like it's
But
like
at the
real
same time,
world.
like you
We know that-
kidnapped us to take us here is some bullshit.
right? And something's got to be going on. Like Michonne's not dumb; she knows this from the very beginning.
Andrea loves it. She
Andrea
fucking
is
loves
naive
it there.
and
She's
doesn't
an
say
idiot.
it. She's so naive. I don't like Andrea.
Thinks they're shady, and I don't blame her. So, in the beginning, there's always an excuse why they can't leave. Oh, you're not fit to travel yet. You're still sick. Oh, blah, blah, blah. Oh, we can't give you your weapons back yet for this reason and that reason. And Andrea just thinks it's all good and gravy.
Right.
Michonne sees right
She's
past their
pissed.
bullshit,
And Michonne's
though.
snooping around the place too to see what's going on.
Right. Michonne ends up finding a big cage full of walkers, and she kills them all, and we're just like, why the fuck do they have these walkers in this safe ass community? Which we find out later what they were for. Michonne snooping around, she sees that the governor has a fucking little girl walker in his room,
Right.
in his closet.
His office
who
is
turns
like
out to
filled,
be his daughter.
his office is filled of like walker heads and
And
fish
fish
tanks.
tanks.
Like it's really fucking creepy.
We just see that he is sick and
And
twisted,
we
and
know
we don't
that-
know why yet. We don't know.
that Andrea friggin' has a crush on him, and he's just such a dick. All right, so
So-
let's get back to the prison for a little bit. I'm smoking.
One of the prison inmates, we see him get scratched by a walker, and now after the other inmates being told by Rick and them what happens if you get bitten or scratched, the inmate
you turn.
the inmate got scratched, and the other inmate
Tomas, the one that's
just
really wild,
fucking turns around and kills
him with no
like
hesitation.
that.
Now, he's been locked up with this guy all this time, and he just got scratched. He obviously hasn't turned into a walker yet.
Like,
he's
he
still
just got
himself,
scratched.
and he's just like bunk or shot him, whatever.
That's another red
So
flag
we're like,
we see
oh,
about Tomas.
my
Like,
God.
you spent, the last 9, 10 maybe even a year with this guy, and you have no hesitation to kill him.
It's just like
he's grimy.
We know that these guys are no good.
So
Especially
then,
Tomas. They're going to be trouble.
Right. So some shit goes down where they're clearing out another room. Rick tells them only open one door, because if you open both the doors, all the walkers are going to flood in.
The inmates went through the prison with them to find more stuff or whatever, right?
Right.
They wanted to get everything clear, so the inmates knew where everything was, they knew direction, so they all went together, Rick's group, and then the inmates went with them to try to clear stuff out.
So he's giving them directions, only open the one door so they don't all flood in. Tomas, again being a dick, does not listen. And he opens both the doors, and nobody's prepared. They were prepared for only, one or two walkers at a time. So here comes all these walkers. It gets a little hectic. Tomas tries to kill a walker and accidentally shoves it at Rick. Not even once. I'm pretty sure he does it twice. And we know, and we could tell that he did it on purpose. He don't fucking like Rick. He thinks he's the leader, this Tomas guy. So after that, Rick sees that he's on some bullshit. So Rick kills him because he's like, you're not going to I'm not risking my life to save my family for some jerk off like you. You're trying to kill me for no reason when I'm helping you. So Rick fucking kills him.
Did he just out of nowhere? He just shot him, or they were fighting?
I don't remember. But after that, they all got their guns at each other and blah, blah, blah. So then Andrew tries to kill Rick. Andrew, another inmate. And I don't know how, but he escaped somehow. And Rick's chasing him through the prison because he's like, I'm going to kill this motherfucker. You ain't going to be trying to kill me. And Andrew runs outside into an enclosed space of walkers. So Rick shuts the door on him and he locks him out there with the walkers. And all we hear is Andrew screaming, ah.
Right, so we think that's it. No, Andrew, he's gone.
But we should know better than to assume somebody's dead on this show. If we don't see the death, we should know better. But we think he's dead.
Right. We think there's no way out, especially that he has no skill to fight.
Good news, Herschel ends up waking up. He's fine. Everybody's happy.
Except he's got missing a leg. And Maggie's really worried because she's like, all we do is run.
Right.
How's he going to keep up with us?
Coming back to Woodbury. So, like I said, we met the governor. We could tell he's a jerk off, but he comes off as this great guy.
Yeah, this charming, great guy. Who takes care of everybody.
Right.
And makes sure everybody's safe.
So, he's got a guy named Milton.
Milton's the scientist, laboratory guy.
Right, and he does walker experiments and trying to find a cure in the long run, I guess. And the governor has a couple generals who are Merrill and Martinez, and they just do the governor's dirty work.
Pretty much.
Right.
When shit has to go down, they're his two guys that take care of it, and they have no hesitation. They are ruthless.
All right, so back to the prison. They find a pair of crutches for Herschel. So he's up and on the move again. And everybody's just enjoying themselves and enjoying not having to constantly run and fight. And they're all separated in different areas. And they're just chilling.
They have their own privacy.
Right. And all of a sudden, this loud-ass alarm starts just blaring all over the friggin' prison.
Yeah, that was pretty
big. walkers are just flooding in from God knows where.
Everywhere.
Right. So since everybody's separated, they are not in a big group to deal with it all together. So we got Carl, Lori, and Maggie together, Carol and T-Dog together, and Rick.
They gotta run and hide and seek shelter because the walkers are in the prison. They're in the courtyard. They're everywhere.
Right. So Rick, Glenn, and Daryl, and the two inmates that are left, they're like, oh, we know where the generator room is. We gotta go there to shut off the alarm. So they go there. Come to find out, Andrew, the one that we assumed died earlier,
when Rick threw him out in the pit of walkers.
Right.
He
this
somehow
is his revenge.
Made it out, and this is his revenge to get them back for kicking him out. We're like, wow, this fucking asshole. That's his revenge. He's destroying all this and going to risk killing all these people.
Right. So Rick ends up killing him because he deserved it. He was an asshole.
Rick should have made sure he was dead from the beginning.
Right. So then, Carol and T-Dog are together, and they get themselves into a bad situation during this crisis. And T-Dog ends up sacrificing himself to the walkers so that Carol can get to
away.
safety.
Which
And
was like so nice, thank God.
it was so nice.
But it was really
I liked
sad because
T-Dog.
T-Dog was a really nice guy.
He was, and here we are watching him getting ripped to shreds by walkers. It was sad.
It was sad.
So then, they show us Lori, Carl, and Maggie. They're like locked in a room somewhere.
Like an electrical room.
And the stress is getting to Lori, and she starts going into labor.
And this is just like the worst time she could go.
It's the worst time because, Herschel's
She's
not there.
next to Herschel.
Herschel was supposed to deliver the baby.
So Maggie has to deliver the baby.
Right. And since Lori had a C-section with Carl, she knows she has to have a C-section with this baby.
Well, they were hoping that wouldn't be the case.
Right, but just in case.
But they were going to they were practicing to make sure if they had to do a C-section, they were going to do it.
So she ends up having to have a C-section because she's hemorrhaging or whatever.
Right, like she's about to die. She can't push the baby out, so Maggie has to cut her open
and
grabs the baby.
Well, first, she says her goodbyes to Carl and Maggie. It's really sad because she knows that, like, once they cut her, she's probably going to die. They're in this crisis. There's no medical attention or anybody to help. Like, she knows she would rather her die than the baby.
Right.
So
Maggie cuts her open. It's sick. She gets the baby out.
The baby's not crying at first.
Maggie looks at the baby and she's just like, "Oh my God, like we have the baby here."
But then the baby
looks back
starts
over
crying.
at Lori. Lori's dying.
So Carl grows some balls and does the hardest thing that there is
Why
to
is it
do.
so bright right now?
I don't know. The unthinkable. Something that no 10 or 11-year-old would normally have to do. And which is, I'm going to be the one to put my mom down so she does not turn into a walker. Like, I'm her only family member here. It has to be me. He, like, puts his bandana over her head. Boom, shoots her. Ugh. It's so
Maggie's
sad.
holding the baby. Like,
everybody's crying. So then, the alarms go off.
The alarms stop going off.
Right. It's safe to come out.
They got the walkers. I don't know, whatever.
Everybody's already outside in the courtyard. So here comes walking out the baby, Maggie, and Carl. And right when Rick and everybody else sees that, they know Lori's gone.
Dead.
Like, the baby's there.
Moment.
It's so sad. Rick breaks down. Carl breaks down. Every time Rick breaks the fuck down, like, when he's really, really getting it, it's sad.
Yeah, it is really sad. Like, and it makes you cry. Like,
and plus, Rick's my favorite. It's tough to see him crying like that. It's really sad. Of course, they're happy about the baby and that the baby's okay. But at this point, they're not only pissed about everything that just happened and they have to fucking do everything they did with the prison.
Fix the prison
up again. But now they got to run out right away and get formula for this baby. They have nothing for it to eat.
Right. We were hoping Lori was going to be able to breastfeed, but Lori's dead, so...
Right. After Rick's done crying or whatever, he rushes back into the prison and he finds, the area where they were, where Lori gave birth and died. And he sees the trail of blood. He sees where it happened at, but Lori's body is not there. A couple feet away, there's a walker with a really big belly, and he's just like knocked out because he's really full and he ate a lot. Come to find out, he ate Lori's whole entire body.
Is that what happened?
Yeah, that's what I just read the other day. That's why she wasn't there.
That's disgusting. Like, yeah, when
that's
I was
why
watching it, I really didn't know. I thought maybe that was Lori's body. Like
fucked up or something. And I thought maybe she, was... I don't know what I thought.
But I guess her whole body somehow got eaten by one walker.
Right, so Rick starts cutting up the walker that ate her. Yeah. He wants to see remains to make sure, she was really dead and in there. I don't know.
And then he really went fucking nuts after this.
Yeah. He sees the ghost of her inside and outside of the prison for a while.
It's an odd place in the prison that has a phone. and he pretends it's ringing and that people are calling him.
Not that
Sometimes
he
it's
pretends.
Lori.
He really thinks that this phone is ringing.
Sometimes it's Lori. Sometimes it's like this other person who's really not there.
Jack.
Like,
It's like all the people that have died in their group so far.
But it was
Jim,
also,
Jackie, Shane, Lori.
Yeah, he's just hallucinating.
And, okay, so, Maggie and Daryl go out on a run and they find...
Oh, by the way, the baby's a
formula.
girl.
The baby's a girl. They find formula at a daycare. They bring it back. So now they have some... Yes, they do. 100%.
Oh, yeah.
So they got this formula from this daycare. They bring it back. Nobody knows what to name the baby yet. So Daryl nicknames her Little Ass Kicker.
Which is cute.
Later on, Carl names her Judith after one of his teachers.
Yeah, he really liked the name.
So back in Woodbury, a couple days go by and Michonne's had it. She's had it up to here. She's like, I'm fucking leaving with or without you, Andrea. Like, this place is shady. These people are
all
shady.
the stuff she
and
found
I'm not
already.
dealing with it. Right. The fucking Walker daughter in the closet, the cage of walkers outside, just the fake charisma of the governor.
Right,
She's done.
In between all this, like, we see the governor throwing, like, parties and this, that, and the third for his people there. Like, he tries to make everything seem so good and gravy, but Michonne knows, like, he's fucked up.
Right, and then we find out that the walkers in the cage that Michonne earlier killed was an entertainment event for the townspeople of Woodbury to come out and watch the walkers fight each
It's
other.
so weird, like...
And they liked it. They were enjoying themselves watching this shit. So eventually Michonne's like, fuck this, I'm out. So
But
Andrea...
they won't let her leave.
Well, yeah, finally they do let her
Or
leave.
they do let her leave, but the
Andrea-
governor says,
right.
kill her. Somebody, Martinez, or this one, go track her and kill her.
Yup. He secretly tells Meryl to go kill her.
Right, so Meryl, I think, even brings people with them. Michonne killed the other people. She didn't kill Meryl, and Michonne got the fuck out of there.
Michonne was injured, though.
And
she
Daryl
got
goes-
shot. Meryl shot her in the
Meryl
thigh,
goes-
and then he got away.
Meryl goes back, and he tells the governor she's dead. Big mistake.
He was supposed to bring back her head and the sword, but he said, there was too many walkers, and I couldn't get that shit, so I just had to come back. So... now, Andrea is at Woodbury all by herself. She's banging the governor now.
Yeah.
Like, she's just all immersed in this
She's
atmosphere.
like the first lady of the fucking Woodbury.
Like,
So
she loves
corny.
it there. And
Yeah,
it's
she
so
loves it.
fake and ridiculous. So, Glenn and Maggie are out getting more baby formula on a different day.
Oh,
We
yeah, because
find
I
out-
guess,
We find out Michonne found them, and she
Meryl-
was spying on them and listening to their conversation.
But Meryl, he went out looking for Michonne after he came back and told the governor that she was dead. He snuck out. He was looking for her because he wanted to kill her because he knew that if she got back there and caused trouble,
He was
the
gonna be in
governor would
big
be fucking
fucking
pissed.
shit.
And he might even fucking kill him for lying and disobeying his orders.
Right. So, Michonne's heavily injured. She sees Glenn and Maggie getting baby formula, and they're privately conversing amongst each other about the prison's a straight shot from here. We'll be back soon. So, next thing you know, Michonne's watching. Meryl
Pops
fucking
up.
pulls up.
And Michonne can't do anything.
And this is the...
Meryl's got a gun, and
Right.
he's got Glenn and Maggie, and he realizes that he knows Glenn.
from
and,
season 1.
And Glenn says, this is my girlfriend, my wife, like, let us go. The Meryl's like, hell no. So he grabs them, and he's going to kidnap them.
He kidnaps them because he wants to know where they're
they're
living
at
at
and where
because
his-
they told him Daryl's alive. He wants Daryl. And they're like, we
brother.
don't like you. We're not telling you where the fuck we live at. We'll have Daryl meet you somewhere.
Right.
That ain't good enough for him, so he kidnaps them.
So Michonne watches them drive away, and then Michonne sees how they left the formula. She's like, all right, well, there's more people. They obviously have a place to live. There's a baby there that needs this formula.
She heard about them saying the prison's a straight
So
shot.
So she takes the formula and she goes looking for this prison, and thank God she does come across the prison. And at first, when they first look out and see her, they think she's a walker, but then they realize she's not a walker.
And there are other walkers around her, but they're not attacking her because she's all bloody and smells like shit, and the walkers think she's one of them.
Yeah, it's really weird. So Michonne goes up to the gate. Rick goes out there, or whoever goes out there, and of course they aren't going to let a stranger in, but they see that she's got the formula, so they know, okay,
She knows something.
Now, Rick just went through all this drama and
with the Andrew guy.
Traumatization.
With Lori.
He's traumatized. So, he's not messing around with anybody. He don't care that she's got the formula. He's like, she's bad. We're going to find out what's going on. He's really rough and aggressive to her.
He's sticking his hand in her bullet wounds if she, like, doesn't want to answer his questions.
So, she's pretty compliant with him for the most part, but she holds her own, and,
she tells, like, this guy, doesn't say who, but tells him this guy came and kidnapped those two, and they had formula, so I fucking brought it here because I figured your baby needed it.
Right, so they kind of keep Michonne, like, separated for a little bit because they don't know, like...
They want her to just rest and heal and then send her on her way.
Right, but in the meantime, they're like, you need to tell us where he took them to because I need my people back. So they do go there. I think Michonne leads them because she wants to go back and get revenge too.
But before that happens, we see torture. Meryl gets Glenn and Maggie back to Woodbury. They're questioning them. They're torturing them. They have them in separate rooms. Meryl's dealing with Glenn. He's got him tied to a chair. And then because he won't talk and say where they live, he sends in a walker. And Glenn ends up busting up the chair and killing the walker.
And Maggie's in the other room. The governor's like about to rape her. It's friggin' disgusting.
He's sexually assaulting her. Like, he's ridiculous. He's got her shirt and her bra off. And it's just terrible. So finally, they're able to be reunited again. Glenn and Maggie. And they're just sitting there together suffering.
So in the meantime, Michonne's leading Rick, Daryl, this one, whoever, to Woodbury so they can get back Glenn and Maggie, and like they bust into Woodbury, right?
They bust into Woodbury.
Smoke bombs.
Right. Well, the first thing they did was they like secretly, without having to shoot or anything, found Glenn and Maggie and they grabbed them. And then after that was when they had to start shooting and doing the smoke bombs and all of that. Oscar gets shot and killed in the meantime, one of the inmates that we liked. Amongst all the madness and the smoke, Daryl ends up disappearing and Michonne ends up disappearing. Michonne, we see,
she goes for the governor.
She goes on her own mission to the governor's
She's like, I'm killing him. I'm going to get Andrea.
Right. He's not in his apartment, so she goes back to the closet where he's keeping his Walker daughter, and as she's about to kill the Walker daughter, here comes the governor rushing in, and he's like, no, don't do it. So she fucking just stabs her right through the forehead, kills her. So now the governor's pissed because there's no hope of finding a cure for his daughter. His daughter's gone, not even as a
right.
Walker
So
anymore.
Michonne and the governor get into this full-blown war, like they're really hurting each other.
I wouldn't even say fist fight. It's a million times that.
Right, they're like killing each other. Like craziness is going down. They're knocking down his Walker head fish tanks. The Walker heads are about to bite them as they're on the ground killing each other. So anyway, neither one kills each other, but Michonne stabs the friggin' governor's eye out with a piece of glass, okay?
And it was a really good part. It's disgusting to watch, but that son of a bitch needed a fucking eye or two stabbed out.
So I don't understand why she didn't kill him, though.
Because
how'd
then
she get out of
Andrea walks in. She's like about to kill him, and then Andrea walks in.
You're right.
And of course, who does she run to? The governor. Oh no, don't you touch my fucking
right,
Philip.
she's on the governor's side.
Right. So then her and Michonne are like having a standoff. She's got her gun pointed at Michonne. Michonne's got her sword pointed at her. And they just like do a little dance, and then Michonne backs out and leaves out the room.
Right. It's ridiculous. Andrea's such an asshole.
So then at this point, Rick and them had made their way outside of the Woodbury fence.
And then
Michonne meets back up with them, and they don't trust her still, but even more now because they're like, where the fuck were you? Like, we needed you, and you disappeared. So they see Daryl's gone. They have Glenn and Maggie. So they send Glenn, Maggie, and Michonne, and who else? Is that it? Back to the car. And the rest of them, or no, I'm sorry.
I don't know.
I don't know who went back to the car and who stayed. But they go back in. So at this point,
they do.
Yeah, because when they rescued when they first got there and rescued Glenn and Maggie, he tells them, like, look, this was Merrill, your brother's here. So that's why Daryl disappeared, to go find him.
Right.
Rick and them get back to Woodbury to find Daryl, and here's the governor having another, like, town event entertainment thing, and he's gonna put Daryl and Merrill to fight each other to the death. Because now in his eyes, Merrill's a traitor, for lying, finding out he lied about Michonne being dead.
Wait, did Merrill trap Daryl? Did the governor catch Daryl? Like, how did that all go down?
I don't know. They don't show us. All we see is that he has them both, and he's going to make them
the governor had
right.
So Rick and them come through. They're like shooting all the walkers. They're like, we need Daryl back.
And of course, you know, tons of Woodbury people get killed, but never like, how come you could kill all these people, but you can't kill the governor in the midst of it, but you can kill like 20 other people? It makes no sense. But of course, the governor gets out scot-free. They get Daryl back, but now they got Merrill with them too.
So wait, real quick, the governor. Obviously, he got really beat up with Michonne. It's not right there. There's no way they go right back in because the governor has an eye patch.
It is, yeah. I'm pretty, yeah. They
so
do.
Anyway, the governor, he's very fucked up, but his eyes done
they were
with.
Not leaving without
his
Daryl.
eyes done with, and he's got a patch on his eye. So he's like the one-eyed bandit governor.
Right. He looks like a pirate. So they end up getting Daryl back. Merrill's with him because now Merrill can't say Woodbury.
Right.
Like the governor wants him dead too. So, you know, they get back to the car where Glenn and Michonne are, and they're pissed. They're like, this motherfucker tried to kill us on multiple occasions.
And rape my wife.
And rape my wife. And you have the balls to bring him back and think he's going to just acclimate with us
we don't
in
give
our
a
prison.
fuck that he's your brother. He's not coming here. He's not welcome.
Right. So Daryl at this point is like, you know, you've already made me leave him once up on that rooftop. I'm not doing it again. I'm sorry. I love you guys, but I'm not losing my brother again. Right. So Daryl and Merrill go off into the woods together, and we think this is the last of them. When they get back home to the prison, there had been some shit going on while they were gone. People had found their way into the back of the prison. We had Sasha, Tyrese, Ben, and Alan.
How do you remember these people's names?
Because I wrote it down. And his wife, but the wife they killed off immediately because she was bit, so she don't even count. But Carl was out fucking around in the tombs of the prison by himself.
He found them.
And he found them and he saved them
back. Yeah, he did save them. And he brings them back to everybody
He brings
else.
them to the common room and like right outside their cell block. And Herschel and Beth and everybody, they like Tyrese and Sasha and Ben and Alan. They think they're good people. They think they will fit in the group well, but they know that some fucked up shit is going on, and on top of that, Rick's crazy from losing Lori, so they're like, you know, we can't promise you that our leader's gonna let you guys stay when he gets back. So Rick and them get back. Herschel pulls them aside. He tells them
Sasha and Tyrese are brother and sister, by the way.
Right. Herschel tells them, you know, we found these people, we think they're good, like, go check them out. So Rick is this close to letting them stay, this close, and then all of a sudden the ghost of Lori appears, and he starts going crazy, and he's like, no, like, just get out, leave me the fuck alone. And they don't know that he's seeing Lori ghost. They think he's talking to them. So Glenn's like, oh my god, you guys gotta get out, he's going to kill you, get out. But really, he was about to let them stay. So they're gone. After the whole prison group attacks Woodbury, the residents of Woodbury were all outraged. They're scared to death, and they all have their shit packed, their cars ready at the gate. They want to leave. The governor tells Martinez, do not let them leave. Like, for whatever reason, they want to keep these fucking people trapped there, so they don't let them leave. He's threatening them and everything else. At the prison, since now, you know, the governor, they had to tell the governor where they lived so they wouldn't kill Glenn and Maggie. They're afraid that the governor's going to come there for retaliation. Rick is like wandering crazy town. You know, he's having his alone time to grieve and get over his insane mental breakdown. Glenn's in charge. He's like, listen, we're going to buckle down. We're going to fortify this place so that if and when this motherfucking governor comes back, we're ready to take him on and we're going to kill him. Herschel would rather just them leave and go find somewhere else to live than fight the fight because they have so much more people than the prison has. And Glenn's like, no. There's another time. Everyone's separated again. Some people are stockpiling extra bullets on this end. Some people are putting up walls on this end. Some, Rick's outside the gate doing his own crazy thing. And everybody's just doing their own thing to get ready for this retaliation. And Carol and Axel are on the catwalk. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, here's a bullet killing poor Axel. And we were starting to like Axel. He's kind of creepy perv, but we were starting to like him. Boom, shoots him dead. Who is it? The fucking governor. He's got like Martinez and
he's got like a fucking army
right,
truck.
and he's got like 3
bazooka truck.
Oh yeah, they're like shooting a tank and shit. So he's got
tank. There you go.
3 trucks of people, and it's crazy. So they're doing a little bit of shooting back and forth. And then next thing you know, here comes this really big truck, zooming down, just runs right over the prison fence, knocks that shit down, and a guy gets out in all suited up armor and opens up the back, and tons of walkers come flooding out of this truck.
Yeah, they're such assholes. Like, they don't just fight, but they bring walkers to kill you. Like.
Right. So after that, the governor and his men figure, like, all right, we fucked with them enough. We're out of here. They can, like, die fighting with the walkers.
But the governor, he sees the prison. He's like, I want the prison. It's much more secure.
And he's also pissed because apparently before they settled at Woodbury, he wanted to take the prison when it was still vacant, and Merrill told him, we can't do that. There's too many walkers. Like, there's no way we could take them all down. So after he finds out that Rick and them were able to clear the prison of the walkers, he's like, fuck, like, that's my prison. So they leave. They're left to deal with the walkers. For the most part, everybody's okay. It's a little bit tense because, like, Herschel's in the field by himself with the walkers on his crutches, but he gets saved. Michonne's running around with her sword, cutting heads off. Rick is outside the fence. He's by himself, and he's about to be pinned down by a bunch of walkers. Like, he's
because
all by
I think
himself.
he's like on a Lori quest.
Right, he's trying to find Lori's ghost and shit,
and
he's just acting crazy. So he's pinned down by these walkers. They're as close to getting
I think.
And here comes Savior Daryl and Jerkoff Merrill out the woods.
Merrill came.
Yeah, and they fucking kill the walkers and they save Rick. So at this point, they're pissed about that. They're like, okay, we need you, Daryl. Like, we already needed you, but we really need you. So we will tolerate Merrill if you will stay. But if he does anything fucked up, you're in charge of him. Like, it's going to be on you. So, once again, they regroup and they're preparing for battle again. The governor's doing the same thing. He recruits everybody in Woodbury, age 13 and up, to come fight this fight with him. Andrea finds out that her friends, Glenn and Maggie, were kidnapped there, and that the people who randomly, terroristically assaulted Woodbury was Rick and them coming to save Maggie and Glenn. So now she's pissed. She's like, why didn't you tell me my friends were here? Why are we fighting them? Like, what's going on with this? She's starting to see that the governor is off his rocker at this point, because she knows that he only wants to fight them because he wants the prison.
And she's pissed because she's like, they're my friends. And in the meantime, Andrea goes and visits the prison.
Right. She escapes and visits the prison. She wants to make a truce.
Right.
She wants everybody to get along.
Like, she's so naive and dumb that she really thinks that the governor and Rick are going to end up getting along, but that's impossible because the governor is such an asshole and he's already caused so much damage, and I highly doubt Rick's going to fuck with him.
Right. So they're unconvinced. Our prison group is unconvinced of Andrea's story that the governor
is
wants
a nice
to
guy
talk
and wants to talk
and wants a peaceful ending. Carol had a great idea. She tells Andrea, like, look, you're banging the governor, bang him one night and then kill him in his sleep. And Andrea, in fact, almost did do that, but then she pussied out. Andrea goes back to Woodbury in the meantime and finds Sasha, Tyrese, Ben, and Alan are at Woodbury now. So they
found Woodbury.
Right.
They heard about it, I'm pretty sure.
Right.
They knew from the attack or something.
So they're like, we were just at this prison and a crazy leader kicked us out. So now, because they're telling this to the governor and they think Rick is crazy, the governor momentarily recruits them to fight the war. Long term, they end up not wanting to fight, but at this moment, they're like, yeah, he's a motherfucker, we're going to fight him. Rick and Carl are going to go on a mission to their old neighborhood where they lived before the apocalypse to scavenge for guns. Rick was the sheriff, so he knows where, like, local
Michonne
guns and
goes
bars
too.
were. Right, they take Michonne because they don't want her left alone with the group because they still don't trust her. They're in their old neighborhood, the three of them. They see all these weird booby traps. There's cages with, like, rats in them. There's sticks with sharpened edges poking out with, like, catching walkers.
Somebody obviously set this up.
So then we come across this crazy guy on a rooftop with a mask
all
and
this
a couple
gear.
Armor, right?
He starts
And
shooting at them.
He's like, get the fuck out or I'm going to kill you. And they're like, fuck you, like, you get out. So they're shooting at each other. He eventually comes down. Carl shoots him. So when he's on the ground unconscious, we take off his mask and we find out it's Morgan.
So we haven't seen Morgan since what, season 1? We're like almost done season 3.
Since like the beginning of season 1,
Right.
pretty much.
So we're like, holy crap, he has went crazy. We take him back up in his like apartment thing. He's very sad. His son died. We see that written on the wall. His son has died. He wrote like something on the wall about it. Michonne stole his candy bar.
Morgan's still unconscious, so Rick's going to stay there and watch him to make sure he's going to be okay, while Carl and Michonne go out to the baby store so they can get a pack and play for Judith. So they go out on their little excursion. Carl still don't like Michonne, but she does something nice for him. They stop at a bar or a diner or something where he knows there's a family picture of them because they were friends with the owners. He wants this family picture so Judith knows what the mother looked like. He can't get the picture. Michonne ends up going in, killing the walkers and getting it for him. So this starts turning his view around and starts making him like, okay, maybe we can trust this girl. They get the friggin' playpen. Meanwhile, back at Morgan's house, Morgan wakes up. He's trying to kill Rick. He's just crazy. Like, he's on this kill. He tells Rick the story of how his son died. His walker wife ate his son. And he's just been crazy ever since then. He clears everything and everyone.
That's what he calls it.
Right.
When he kills somebody. Clear.
Right.
It's
he
clear.
Just kills every person, every walker that he comes across. Whether they're good, bad, he clears it. So he thinks Rick is just some motherfucker and he's trying to kill him.
Right.
Until Rick sees the walkie-talkie that they were trying to communicate with for all of season 1. And he's like, look, dude, I left you that walkie-talkie. Like, it's me. You know me. So finally, Morgan starts to, his mind unfogs, and he's like, oh shit, I do know you, but you're an asshole because you didn't fucking talk to me on the walkie-talkie.
Right, which Morgan should have still went every day because it took like Rick, a week to get back to him?
No, he was on the thing every day at dawn. He's just acting outrageous. So, he tells him, we have a prison, like, you should come live with us instead of, like, you're not
Living
good
here
on your own like this. And he's like, well, you're here to steal my guns. Obviously, where you live is not safe and you need the guns to protect it from somebody or something. Like, I'd rather stay here in my solitude and not be fighting no fights. Carl and Michonne come back with the playpen. They leave.
See you later, Morgan.
Right. So then, somehow, I guess it was through Andrea, a meeting was set up between Rick and the governor.
And it's really creepy.
Same
This is the first time Rick and the governor are really going to see each other and sit down and be face to
Right,
face.
and not be shooting at each other.
And they hate each other.
So, Daryl and Herschel and Rick go, and Milton, Martinez, and the
Pretty
governor
much
go.
the meeting
and
is
Andrea.
the governor saying, I want the prison, and Rick saying, no.
Right,
no.
Rick's laying out, like, you can have this side of the lake, and we'll have this side of the lake. And the
Right,
governor's
Rick is
like,
willing-
fuck no.
Rick is willing to coexist with him since obviously the governor has so much more manpower than Rick's group.
Right.
He's
His
like-
exact words are, you're just a town drunk who came and ripped up my yard and knocked down my fence. I don't give a fuck about you. You have your side of the lake and I have mine. The governor don't want to hear it.
He wants the whole prison, and he wants Rick and his people gone.
But then he says, if yous bring me Michonne, I will fucking leave you guys alone.
So he wants Michonne dead. So he's like, give me Michonne, I'll leave you alone.
So that's it. End of the meeting. Rick's got a lot to think about because he's like, is this us to be, giving somebody up like this who we're starting to just trust? Or should we do it to save the greater good? And both Rick and the governor go home, and they're both lying to their people about what was said at the meeting. The governor tells his people, Rick's coming, he's going to kill us all, we got to get ready for war.
We have to kill him before he kills us.
Right. Rick goes home and tells his people, he wants us all dead, we got to get ready for war. So then, he ends up pulling Herschel aside and being like, look, he gave me this deal with Michonne, like, what should we do? Herschel's trying to talk him out of it. Eventually, Rick decides, you know what, we're going to fucking bring him Michonne because I'm going to save the greater good by sacrificing this one person. So, he enlists Meryl to do the dirty work.
Because Meryl's with our group at the prison.
Right.
Yeah.
And, Meryl fucking knocks Michonne out, ties her up, and she wakes up in the car on the way to the governor's. He tells her what's going on. She's pissed, but she's like just trying to guilt trip Meryl and try to get him to let her free. Eventually, he does feel bad and he does let her free. And thank God, because at the last minute, Rick changed his mind and he's like, you know what? No, like, we all are the greater good. All of us. Like, I'm not sacrificing nobody for this. But it was too late. Meryl already took Michonne and left. Glenn sends Daryl to go find Michonne and Meryl and say, the deal's off, don't fucking do it. So, on his way there, he comes across Michonne since Meryl let her go.
Where did Meryl go?
And he tells her, like, Meryl still went to Woodbury anyway. So, Michonne goes home to the prison. Daryl goes after Meryl. Meryl gets drunk, and he goes to the meet spot to where they were supposed to meet if Rick was going to decide to give up Michonne.
It's like this
right,
really
and
weird.
The governor was grimy anyway because before this he had told Martinez, like, look, if Rick and the group show up with Michonne, you can kill everybody and leave Michonne alive so we can torture her. So he tricked Rick. He wasn't going to take Michonne and live in peace. He was going to fucking kill him anyway. So thank God Rick changed his mind. So Meryl gets drunk. He rolls up to the meet spot by himself. He jumps out the car. He's got the music blaring to attract the walkers to the car. And he runs and hides in a house. He sees the governor and everybody there ready to make the trade for Michonne. And he starts shooting at them. He takes a couple of his guys out. But then they see him in the window.
So I guess they kill Meryl, right?
Right. They kill Meryl. I'm pretty sure the governor and him have a fist fight first and then he kills him.
The governor kills Meryl.
And it's kind of sad because we were just starting to gain some trust in Meryl. We see that he has the potential to be turned to a good guy.
Right. Maybe he's changing a little bit.
So then Daryl, he finally gets to the meet spot. He's looking for Meryl to tell him, come back. And he rolls up and this is what he sees. Walker Meryl kneeling down on the ground eating another Walker.
Or a person, whatever.
Daryl's
very upset that his brother's dead and a Walker.
It's really sad seeing Daryl in this condition.
Does he put him down?
Not only does he put him down, but he like stabs the shit out of him a bunch of times.
Because
he's just
also
in a rage and
hates
he's hurt.
him too at the same
right.
time.
He loves him, he hates him. They had a rough childhood together. He's a dick in the apocalypse. He's just enraged.
Before.
Like, I guess he probably feels some type of way that he didn't get to perfect his relationship with him before he died.
Right.
Like, he's just in a rage stabbing this shit out of him.
Now, mind you, Daryl also starts off as a really angry guy, too. But he's not an asshole the way Meryl is. And Daryl's starting to change completely.
Right. Like, ever since Shane died, or even before Shane died, Daryl started stepping up and being, like, another leader. He was like leader number 2 next to Rick, along with like Glenn also and Herschel. So in the meantime, Andrea decides she's going to escape again to go back to the prison to warn them of the governor's plan that he's going to kill all of them no matter what.
But the governor knows what she's going to do, and he follows her. Andrea is this close to making it to the prison, and like Rick's outside too. He's about to see her waving like help, help, help. Like the governor's about to get me. I'm trying to get to you.
He does see her, and then when he puts through the scope, he doesn't see anything.
So he don't know what's going on. The governor got her, and he's hurting her. I guess he brings her back to Woodbury with him,
and he puts her in the torture chair that was designed for Michonne.
Milton's in there.
He's pissed at Milton because Milton gassed and lit on fire all of his walkers that he had in a pit dug out in the woods somewhere. He was going to use these walkers for something bad, and he found out that
Milton killed them.
Milton killed them. So now he's like, Milton traded against me. Andrea's in the chair. So he's like, Milton, you're going to kill Andrea. Milton's like, no, fuck, I'm not. So
Milton likes Andrea.
Right. They're like becoming buddy-buddy. He's like, okay, well then I'm going to kill you. You're going to turn to a walker and kill her anyway. Because she's chained in a chair. Miraculously, there was like a pair of pliers on the floor. So the whole time while they're chatting, while Milton is dying after the governor stabs him.
Yeah,
Andrea's trying to get the pliers with her feet. So before Milton actually dies, the governor goes out to make one last assault on the prison. Now, the prison people are ready. They have this whole big plan. The governor and like tons and tons of people show up. They're not playing no games. They blow up the guard tower. They're blowing everything up. They storm in the prison. Nobody's there, right? They're like, oh my God, like where are they? So they're in their personal cell blocks. Nobody's there. The governor's team makes their way back to the tombs where it's all dark and you can't see anything. And all of a sudden, like, our people come out throwing smoke bombs and they're shooting, and you can't tell where they are because they know the prison at this point and the governor doesn't. So pretty much they just scared the governor's team out of there. So now they're excited they won. They got rid of them. There's an incident afterwards where Beth, the baby, Carl, and Herschel were hiding in the woods during this assault, and one of the governor's people stumbles upon them, and he's just a kid. This guy's like a teenager. So Herschel tells him, stop, give me your weapon, give me your gun. So as the kid is handing over his gun, Carl shoots him. This was a turning point for Carl because we see he's trying to be like a grown-up, and he's like, we didn't kill the governor when we had the chance, and look what's happening now. I didn't kill the walker that was stuck in the mud, and then he turned around and killed Dale. Like, I wasn't going to spare this kid's life so he could turn around and kill one of us later. They're pissed about that. So after all that, Rick and them are like, we're going to follow the governor back, and we're just going to end it. We're going to Woodbury. We're going to kill all of them. They're on their way to Woodbury, and they see like a convoy of trucks on the side of the road. What happened was, on their way home, the governor went crazy, and he just decides to kill all his people. Because they're like, that was an ambush. Like, we're not fighting these people. They're crazy. Like, we're not fighting your fight no more. So he gets pissed and he fucking shoots them all dead. Yeah. Except for Martinez and like one other guy.
Like there's one girl who didn't die and was still alive, and she told them all this. And did they kill her or?
No, it ends up being Karen, who ends up being important to the story later.
Okay, so it's Karen. They bring Karen with them.
So Karen tells them, we hate the governor. He did this because we don't want to fight for him no more. So they take Karen. They get to Woodbury. The governor's not there. The only people left there are like the old people and the children, I guess, pretty much.
Right, because he took everybody else to fight.
Right, and then killed them.
And they're not home.
Oh, and also Sasha and Tyrese are still there. So ends up, they're like, you know what? The governor's going. Like, this is ridiculous. They take all the remaining residents of Woodbury
back to the prison.
They throw them on
they
school
wanted
bus
to
and
leave
they take
anyway.
them back. Right. They were ready to get out. They're done with the crazy governor.
Right. So Rick takes all the people of Woodbury and he brings them back to the prison.
And it's a really good scene. Like, you see him opening the bus door and everybody's walking in the prison.
We still have all our people. And we gained more people.
Season 3 ends with everybody walking into the prison from Woodbury.
And we're going to live with them. And we're all going to build together.
And that's it. End of season 3.
I really didn't review season 3 too much. I don't really remember the details of it, so that's why I kind of was just like lurking in the background here. But I think Maria did a really good job nailing everything, pinpointing stuff. Definitely was really good.
I thought season 3 was really good for the most part. Just, you know, a lot of the episodes that revolved around Andrea and the governor and Woodbury, I wasn't too crazy about because they were kind of slow, and I personally was just not really interested in life at Woodbury. So season 3 for me had a lot of ups and downs, more ups than downs, but I could have passed on a lot of it.
I really liked season 3. I thought it was really good. But for our next video, season 4, I will definitely do my homework so I can be more involved with it. Yeah, so I hope you guys like this video. I hope you guys like what we're doing. We got to start getting these videos out there because we want to be caught up when the season 8
mid-season
premiere comes on. You know, we want to start making videos after each episode, and I think then is really when it's going to be fun and it's going to pick up because we're going to review each episode at a time and really talk about an episode.
And we can get in depth about each episode, right? Every little detail.
It's kind of hard going over a season at a time because we want to tell you guys everything. We try to make it short, but we can't. So we really think it's going to be awesome once we start doing episode reviews rather than season reviews. Hopefully we can try to speed this up a little more. But we hope you guys liked it. Keep watching us. It's only going to get better.
Give us a thumbs up.
Make sure
subscribe if you haven't already.
Yes, make sure you're subscribed. And thank you guys. We love you.
Bye.
Bye.